Thank you for joining me today. We're going to be talking about all the advice that you need as a counselling student, whether you're doing your diploma, your degree, or your master's, maybe even your PhD in counselling. This video is for you. Stay tuned. The first piece of advice I'd give to you is that you need to be a member of the BPS if you're just starting out. The chances are if you're doing a master's or a PhD, you probably would have been required to already be a member of the BPS before you started the course anyway, so hopefully you are. I don't know exactly how much it is. I'll put the amount on the screen. The course is very emotionally demanding and tasking, so be prepared to talk about things that are painful, close to your heart, things that are deep, because a lot of the time people will bring a lot of their personal issues to the triads and the dyads that you'll be doing on your course, and people may get emotional, people may cry, people may feel very overwhelmed, but that's the reality of the course. And I myself have cried a handful of times during this course because of things that I've talked about in dyads and triads that have really got me emotional. And I'm not the only person that has cried. A lot of people have cried, and the thing is, you don't really expect to cry, but you know, you're talking about real life issues. People are talking about people that they've lost, you know, their loved ones, marriage problems, finance problems, friendship problems, relationship problems, and it all really does just bring tears to your eyes sometimes. So be prepared for that. I don't know how you can prepare for it, but I think just have a mental note that, okay, this course is probably going to expect a lot from me emotionally. By the end of the day, a lot of us are emotionally drained and physically drained because we're in from 10 till 5:30. It's a lot. Not only are you going to talk about the difficult things in your dyads and triads, but you're also going to be talking about them in your personal therapy, because it's mandatory to do personal therapy when you're doing your masters. I don't know, I think also for your degree, your masters and your PhD, you have to do personal therapy. For your diplomas, you do not have to do personal therapy as far as I'm aware. If you can, try to do some volunteering before or during the course. So volunteering for charities like Mind, Childline, any telephone charities, a lot of them do require a commitment for maybe a year or two minimum. So see if you can afford to do that once a week or twice a week if you have the time. That will really help you to practice your counselling skills. If you do it before the course, it will increase your chances of being accepted onto your course as well. This is more so for the masters and the PhD, because the more experience you have, the more likely you are to be accepted for those courses. Doing this can also prepare you for placement if you're doing placement on your masters or your degree or your PhD as well. The next piece of advice is make sure that your course is accredited, because it's really important to make sure that your course is accredited. If it's not accredited, like I said before, it's not the end of the world. You can still get accredited after. You have to do a test of proficiency provided, I think it's by the BACP. So unfortunately for counselling students, there are a lot of extra costs outside of just paying your tuition or your accommodation if you're staying in accommodation. This only applies for people maybe doing degree and upwards. If you're doing a diploma, probably not, but there are extra costs: paying for your personal therapy, paying for supervision once you start a placement. If the placement doesn't provide supervision, then you'll have to get an external supervisor, which then is going to cost you a bit extra. Obviously paying travel to go to placement and to go to university itself, paying for your annual BPS membership, and you also have to pay for insurance to do placement, and if you haven't got a DBS, you also have to pay for that to be done. So yeah, there's a lot of extra costs, which is now going to add up to a few £1,000s, and I'm going to do a separate video on the cost of becoming a counsellor, because I have learned the hard way. So having a part-time job or having money saved up before you start the course would really help you a lot. And the last piece of advice that I have for people doing a counselling course, especially if you're doing a master's or a PhD or a degree, is to look for your placement really early. We started looking for our placements in that first year May in order to get placements sorted for September essentially. Some people were lucky enough to get them kind of straight away and were able to start their placement in July, August. But some people haven't started, including myself. I did find mine pretty early in July anyway, but be aware that a lot of places will take a lot of weeks or a lot of months to get back to you, so you should start looking very early. Even if your university or your institution hasn't advised, ask them early. Just reach out to them and say, do you have a placement database, or am I going to be looking for myself? And if you're looking for yourself, start looking early, because they do take a long time to get back to you, simply because they don't prioritize placements. They prioritize having hired people at their place of work, so placements are not really that important to them, so it takes a lot for them to get back to you. So just start looking early so that you're prepared and you're ahead of the game, and you can acquire the hours that you need for your placement. So if you haven't already, I've got a video and advice for you university students, which are generic for anyone that's going to university, which you can also watch. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.